welcome to Focus Today, and what a delight to have back in the studio with us, as always, Mr. Tim Elbert. His nickname is the Timinator, and I'll let him explain how he got that. Did we give you that name?
Yes, you did.
I did give you, yeah, we gave you that name. All right, I'll take that back. Anyway, he's here from the Four Seasons Nursery, and we'll be taking your phone calls. And as you call in with your questions about yard and plants and bugs and trees and all that stuff, your name goes in the hat. And Tim has brought in, this is beautiful. What is this?
This is a coneflower, and this is a really neat one. It's called Solar Flare. And for those who can't see it, it's kind of got some purples and pinks and oranges, and just a really neat combination of colors in the petals. Just a fantastic plant for this summer heat. Makes a great cut flower. It's deer resistant, so they're going to be fantastic for people who have a lot of deer. They're perennial, come back every year.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, your name's going in the hat. Somebody's going to win this Solar Flare cone flower, and the number is 776-5770. 776-5770, and call and ask your question, get your name in the hat. What a great weekend to be working in the yard. Might be a little active with the weather, but it's not scorching hot. And those of you who lost things in the heat, I guess they just lost things in the heat.
You're not alone, that's all I have to say.
It was a scorcher there for about a week, and we may warm back up a little bit, but I don't know if we'll get back up that hot. But a lot of people did lose some things, and so I don't know, I guess some things that water just can't solve, huh?
Yeah, or in some cases, water might have been the problem too. So
yeah,
we've had a couple of flash floods that have washed a little bit of landscape away. So so things you can do to repair all that stuff. If you have questions, let me know.
All right, 776-5770. Give Tim a call, and your name's going in the hat for this beautiful coneflower. 776-5770. I do have one question now, because those of us that have a lot of potted plants or hanging plants, and in the heat, of course, you're watering them and all that, but you may be washing the nutrients out, right?
Yes, that can happen very rapidly as you water, and the water runs through the pot, pulls not only waste away, but it pulls away nutrients. And so you have to continue to replenish those nutrients in those pots. So very, very important to do. Because you wash away the nutrients so readily in containers, I like to use a shorter acting fertilizer, something that takes effect right away, but maybe doesn't last very long. And that would be the liquid soluble type fertilizers, the stuff you mix with water and pour on.
Okay.
We go with one by Fertilome called Geranium Hanging Basket and Pansy Food.
Okay.
And it's a balanced fertilizer with all trace elements. And if you see our hanging baskets out there, that's exactly what we use. So
how often?
We do it weekly.
Oh, you do?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you water in between, but one of those waterings should include that.
Yes, yeah. Once a week, hit them up with some good fertilizer, and they'll do fantastic.
All right. If you have any questions, 776-5770. Let's go to Steve. Hi, Steve.
Hey, good morning, Perry. Hey, Tim.
Hi.
My question, in my grass is really doing good this year, but I've got a little weed problem in this back lawn. These little weeds that usually grow in the bark beds, they grow out flat on the ground, and they got little tiny leaves on them. Mm-hmm. Very tough. I tried weed and feed, and that didn't touch it.
No.
I mean, in the beds, I just spray it with Roundup, and it kills it. But is there something that I can put on that? I mean, it's just seeded and getting all over in my grass.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So really kind of a two-step process for controlling that. The first thing is to use a product called Weed Free Zone. And the Weed Free Zone, it has a little bit different chemical to it than your regular weed and feeds, and it works much better on the oxalis and the spurge. You're probably looking at the spotted spurge.
Yeah.
And those this stuff works a lot better on those types of plants than your standard weed and feeds. So spraying it with that and then come back through with a pre-emergent and put like Dimension and put Dimension out over the lawn to help kill off any seeds that are left behind, because those things produce a ton of seed.
Well, yeah, I mean, I didn't used to have this for years, and here in the last couple of years, I started showing up, and then it's just getting bad in the back, especially here.
And it loves the heat, and that's why we're seeing it now. And we actually don't usually see it until July, but in a lot of cases, we had people seeing it in June.
Yeah,
just
I was
because,
seeing it in June this year.
Yeah, just because it was so much warmer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Weed-free zone and Dimension. And you're in good shape.
Thanks.
Okay,
Alrighty.
Steve, thank you, bud. All right, let's go. Again, the number is 776-5770 if you have a question for Tim Elbert. Your name's going on the hat for this beautiful coneflower. All right, Denise, what's going on with your zucchini?
I have beetles in my zucchini.
Wow.
in your zucchini or on your zucchini plants?
On my zucchini plant.
Okay, good. Phew. Yeah, probably squash beetles. They're very, very common. There's a couple of things. First of all, they found that spinosad, same thing that we use for controlling the earwigs or controlling the petunia budworms, that also seems to work pretty good on squash beetles. And so you can use that. Also, carbaryl, which was also known as 7, that works very well for controlling them. It is important that you spray at the right time, though. Now, those guys are coming out during the day, but so are the pollinators, the honeybees, etc. So regardless of what you spray, you want to make sure that you put that spray out in the evening so that the honeybees are safe the next day.
Someone told me neem oil. Would that help them, or, take care of them, or no either?
Neem oil is a contact only. So if you actually contact the insect with that spray, you will kill it. But if it doesn't contact the insect, it will not kill it.
Oh, so the eggs that are underneath the leaves.
Yeah, you can kill. Yeah, the neem oil will kill the eggs on contact only.
Okay.
Yeah, so you have to get under the leaves, spraying under the leaves, etc. So. Yeah, it's not an easy way to control them. Neem oil works fantastic as a contact kill, but you can't always contact them.
Yeah. So with the other stuff, is that pretty safe? I guess it's still pretty safe to use on vegetables.
Absolutely. Yeah. The carbaryl is you can harvest within 7 days. So my suggestion: go through and harvest, do a spray, and then a week later you can harvest and it'll wash right off. The spinosad you can harvest within 24 hours.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay,
all right.
Thank you. All right, 776-5770 is the number if you have any questions for Tim Elbert from Four Seasons Nursery. They're out there on Crater Lake Highway. You get off on Violet Road, go up a little bit, and you can't miss it. It's got all those beautiful hanging baskets hanging out front, and they are open from
9 to 5.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
What do you know? Every day of the week. All right, let's go to, hi, let's see if I can get her on. Nancy, hi. What's going on with your crepe myrtle?
Well, I just bought crepe myrtle, and it's in 5-gallon tubs, but it's been so hot, I didn't know if this was a good time to plant it or if I need to keep it in the tubs and plant it this fall.
Oh, you can plant it, not a problem. Crepe myrtle love the heat, and the more heat, the better. So they're really liking this weather. And in reality, sitting up out of the ground in a black nursery pot, those roots are a lot hotter than if you were to get it in the ground where the roots can be kept a little cooler. So you're actually better off getting into the ground as soon as possible.
Awesome. Okay, well, this is a good time to do it because it's cooler and got
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, thanks, Nancy. All right, let me see if we can squeeze in one more before we take a break. Hi, Judy. What's happening with your pansies?
Well, I find it odd, and I was just wondering, I planted pansies last year. They came up this year, but they're pollinating in my grass and in other plants, and I was just wondering, how unusual is this?
You mean they're seeding in those other areas?
Well, they're, I look in other plants, and there's another pansy in there. I didn't plant them there, and they're in my grass.
Oh, yeah. So what happened is probably they went to seed. and those seeds fell into those areas, and pansies will come up from seed very readily. So I'm sure that's what's going on. Yeah.
Okay. I just thought it was really unusual. I'd never heard of it before.
Oh yeah, it happens for us a lot when we do a little composting at the nursery, and some of the winter pansies that don't sell or whatever end up in the compost pile. And in the next spring, when we have potted up some of our trees, suddenly we get some pansies popping up through.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, so it's kind of fun, but that happens. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much for taking my call.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Judy. All right, let us take a quick break. We'll come back. If you have any questions about what's going on in your yard, give us a call, 776-5770, area code 541. Again, that's 776-5770. And your name's going in the hat for this beautiful cone flower. And this is what model is this?
Solar Flare.
Solar Flare.
Yes.
I've been accused of that. Well, no, it was Flame Out. I'm sorry. I got the two mixed up. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Paulina, and I work at theDove TV. Did you know that when you support theDove TV, you have a profound impact, not only in our community, but around the world? It's your continued support that takes the inspiration and hope in the programs we produce and makes them available to the thousands of people who are watching these videos online every week. Help bring encouragement and hope to our valley and beyond by making a secure online donation today at our website, thedove.us.
Okay, we're back with Tim Elbert from Four Seasons Nursery, and he's here to answer your gardening questions as you head into this weekend. Should be a nice weekend to be out in the yard. It won't be hot. You might have to dodge a few lightning strikes, but hey, a little dance will do you some good. And if you have never been to the nursery, let me encourage you to check it out. It's out there on Highway 62. You get off on Vilas Road and just go up about half mile. You can't miss it. And it's got all the beautiful hanging baskets out there and a lot of color, and the nursery is just gorgeous. So if you have any questions, give us a call. Tim has brought into the studio this morning a cone flower, and it's called the Solar Flare. It's got the most beautiful pinkish, yellowish, orangish, reddish color.
Yeah, it's kind of like purples mixed with reds and oranges, and I don't know, it's kind of one of those.
How big will this get?
They get about 2 feet tall. They'll spread just about as wide.
Okay, good. All right. So get your name in that, okay? 541-776-5770. Lorraine, you've been very patient. What's going on with the artichokes?
I have white spots all over the leaves, and I'm afraid something. It looks like it's killing it. I'm not sure what's going on.
The white spots, does it look like something that has dripped on it, or is it more of a powdery material?
Yeah, it looks like a rash. Like
a
it
rash.
Just covers. Yeah, it covers the leaves.
Okay. It sounds like it could be a powdery mildew. And typically with powdery mildew, you'll need to increase your feeding. That's really important. And then use a chlorathanol type spray. We carry one called broad spectrum garden fungicide.
Yeah.
And it's a very safe one to use. So, but you're going to need to do something like that to get that under control. So.
Okay, is it hurting the artichokes themselves?
Probably not, unless you start to see that transfer to the fruit itself. But usually the fruit tends to be a little more waxy, and so you don't see that on the fruit as much as you do on the leaves, which tend to be fuzzier. It might be a good idea to wait until harvest and then do that, but definitely feed it. Use a good organic garden fertilizer around it, water it in thoroughly, and that's going to help the plant fight it off.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
Thank you. All right, 776-5770, and Peggy, are you there?
Yes.
Oh, we got. I thought it was my Peggy. It's you. Hi.
Oh, no.
And what's interesting? Well, I'll tell you what's interesting about this, Peggy, is that you want a question about a hanging basket?
Yeah. My I got two beautiful. They were beautiful hanging baskets, and we just wanted to know about their petunia mostly, and then there's other little flowers around them. But they get kind of gangly sometimes. Are we supposed to trim those off, keep them trimmed, or to the certain like they were when we got them?
Yeah, if they do get a little gangly, which happens occasionally, then you can prune them. We don't normally prune our baskets, but yes, in certain instances where they're getting a little on the dangly side and looking a little rough, just shear off around the bottom of them, and that will stimulate more growth out of the top.
Okay, and could I ask you one more question about rhubarb?
Okay.
I didn't think about that. I just got a new rhubarb plant and thought I'd try my hand at it. It says to keep the soil soggy. We don't really have a soggy ground area around here that's always soggy. So could I put it in a big pot maybe and try to keep it that way? Is it?
Yeah, just moist is good enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
Moist. Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Tam.
All right. You're welcome.
You have a good day. Bye-bye.
You too. Oh, well, my Peggy just sent me a email to remind you about our hanging plant. It lost all its blooms.
Well, that's because the bloom warranty ran out.
Wow, there you go. The bloom warranty wore out. There's another one. Are you selling insurance policies with your plants now?
It
was kind of hanging in a shady place. Okay. So I moved it and hung it in a much more hot sun place.
Okay.
But it is underneath kind of like an oak tree, and I don't know if the oak tree is a problem.
No, the oak tree wouldn't cause any problems with it, but feed it and usually they'll come right back from that. If it was in too much shade, I can see how that might affect the flowers, but yeah, see if you can get it to come back. Also, are you spraying for budworm? I think you got petunias, right?
Yeah, it's the one I got from you.
Yeah. If you got it from us, it's got budworms. Not really.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Well, you've always told us to put it in a hot spot, and we thought that was hot, but apparently it wasn't direct sun enough. So I hung it in another place that gets that really direct morning sun and a pretty good shot in the afternoon, but in the late evening it gets a little shade. So that should be enough.
Yeah, it needs at least a half a day of sun.
Okay.
But the big thing we find with the petunias right now especially is the petunia budworms. And if you've got lots of nice green foliage and no blooms, chances are it's the budworm that's causing your problem. You need to spray the spinosad on that to get rid of those guys.
All right, there we go. Let's go to, hi Tammy, what's going on with your potted plants?
Well, I've got ants that are killing my plants.
You got ants in your plants.
I've got ants in my plants.
I was going to say that, but it was too close for a slip.
That's not funny.
That's why they call me the Timinator, I guess. So,
his cell phone number is. Go ahead.
Anyways, ants typically don't bother plants. Now, ants will go up into plants and get sugars. So if there's fruit on the plants that they can get the sugars from, or if there are insects, ants cannot metabolize the sugars out of the plants themselves. They have to have another insect do it. And sometimes ants will take aphids and they'll move them, because once aphids attach to the plant, they don't move from there.
Yeah.
So ants will go and they'll pick them up and they will pull them out and they'll move them to another spot and they'll set them down and attach them there. And then they'll poke a hole in the aphid and they will take the sugars out of the aphid. So they use the aphid. It's called farming aphids, and it is a real thing. and the ants will do that. So so if you have aphids on your plant, there's a good chance you have ants there, and that might be why the ants are there. So look into those things. There's either some sugars or something there for those ants, or there's insects there for them. So, and get rid of those, and the ants will go away.
Okay, so what kind of a spray should I put on them?
Well, if you've got other insects on there, what kind of plants? Are they edible plants?
No, they're my potted plants, my
ornamentals.
Yeah.
Okay, so so you can use like a permethrin, or you can use the carbaryl. Either one of those works really well. Yeah, either those would be my two top choices.
Okay, because when I pull them out of the pot to look and see what kind of bug is in there, they're just loaded with little tiny ants, and I can't see any other bugs.
Yeah, well, there's a reason for them being in there, but if they're there, they're either just nesting there or they're finding something to eat there, but they're not typically a plant pest because they're not eating your plants.
Okay.
So,
okay. Well,
right.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank
You're
you.
welcome.
I didn't know there was capitalism in the insect world.
Oh, there is.
That's pretty good. All right, the way you have to say it's pretty industrious on those little buggers.
They are very industrious.
All right,
yes.
28 and a half now past the hour. Let's go to Gail. Hi, Gail. Sweet peppers and brown spots, huh?
Yes.
Oh.
And the flesh is really thin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's usually caused by sunburn, and I bet you can guess what that's from.
Overhead watering.
It's just been too hot, yeah, and so the exposed surfaces of the peppers, if they're getting a lot of hot sun, can brown out in patches, and the nice thing is it doesn't really affect the other part of the fruit. You can cut that part off and still use the fruit. But yeah, sunburn probably the main thing. If you can shade them a little bit from the hot afternoon sun, that helps. But of course, take that shade off when it gets cooler, like for this week. But if we get back up into those triple digits again, you may want to put a little shade over the top of them.
Okay. What about the flesh? It's really, there's not that much on it. It's thin.
That could just be the variety.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gail. Okay. There's a little bit of a advice here. What about overhead watering when it's this hot? Because you can do some damage on fruit with that, can't you?
Yeah, not really.
Okay.
Yeah. So
go ahead and overhead.
I'm trying to do this gently. No, what are you talking about, Perry? Come on, really. It has always been, this big thing of if you put cold water on a hot plant surface that you can burn the plants. Or they'll say that the water droplet on a plant surface acts like a magnifying glass and can burn the plants. And in reality, that is so minimal and very, very low chance of that actually happening that it's not a bad idea every once in a while to just, if it's really hot, to spray some water up in the air and let it cool down your plants.
Okay.
So you can do it pretty safely.
All right.
Yeah.
Here's the phone number, 776-5770. That's the number. If you have a question for Tim, give us a call. We'll have you on and off the air quickly. And then your name goes in the hat. Somebody's going to win this beautiful cone flower. And this is a solar burst?
Solar flare.
Okay,
yes.
Solar flare. The color is just so unusual. Very pretty. And you could win this. So here's the number, 541-776-5770. He's with the Four Seasons Nursery. If you've never been out there, well, you're missing it. Go on out Highway 62, get off on Vilas Road, go past the Army, Navy, whatever that store is. What is that store there? That big
You
one?
got it. The Army Navy store.
Go up about, less than a half a mile, and you can't miss the nursery there on the right with all the beautiful hanging pots and everything else. So we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Paula, and I work at theDove TV. Every day we get letters and emails from people who've been encouraged, blessed, and challenged by the programs on theDove TV. But we couldn't do it without you. Did you know that more than 90% of our income comes from people like you? You can help us continue to bring inspiration and hope to our community by making a secure online donation at our website, thedove.us, or call us at 541-776-5368.
Okay, we're back with Tim Elbert from the Four Seasons Nursery, taking your phone calls today. And if you have any questions about bugs and plants and, transplanting and watering, fertilizing and all that stuff, He's the man, and the number is 541-776-5770. It's going to be a great weekend, actually, to be in the yard. It's not going to be scorching hot. The temperature should all be well. You might have some thunderstorm activity to kind of dance around, but not bad. And so when you call in, your name's going in the hat, and somebody's going to win this beautiful cone plant, and it is just beautiful. So, and that'll continue to bloom through the summer.
Yes, absolutely, all summer long.
Now, you pick those off when they're done blooming. What do you do, or cut it back?
Yeah,
or?
you can trim back the old blooms, and they'll continue to bloom some more.
Okay.
They make great cut flowers. They last a nice long time in vases, so you can trim them and bring them inside, enjoy them indoors.
Okay. They're just beautiful. All right, let's go to back to the phones here. And if you have any questions, again, 541-776-5770. And Janet, thanks for your patience. What's going on with your raspberries?
Okay, it's somewhat the same as last year. I just maybe forgot what to do. I mean, I've asked. Anyway, there's a lot of sun scald on there, and it's not producing any fruit. It did a little tiny bit, but then I was trying to cut it back because it was hanging over the the grass.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, it's just not doing well. I mean, it's great big stalks, just like 3 feet high, but no.
So
no berries.
Is it one of the raspberry shortcakes, one of the dwarf ones, or is it regular size?
Well, it's about 3 to 4 feet tall.
Okay, so probably just one of the standard ones then.
Yeah.
When you're pruning on those, you've got to be careful, because if you prune back the new stalks, they're going to be producing your berries, and you kind of want to be careful that you don't prune back the stalks that will be producing berries, or else you won't get any berries.
Okay.
So if it's overhanging the lawn, better to tie it up than to prune it back.
I think I'll do. I don't want to do any more to it because I'm afraid. And what about the sun scald? Do you think it's just in a too hot place?
It's it's just been a very hot season. They're not typically used to having 100-degree temperatures in June when they produce their first set of berries.
Right.
And so yeah, it's been a little hot for them. And most of that's just cosmetic, and you may lose a few berries because of that. But it's the plant's going to survive and do well and be okay. So I wouldn't suggest really any major moves or things like that. But hopefully you'll get a good fall crop on those.
Okay, so because I was going to go look and see the stuff that I put something. I asked another nursery about this, and they said to feed it with a certain plant food, but it hasn't helped any. So
yeah, feeding's not going to help with sun scald. And again, if you're pruning, you're not going to get the flowers and the fruit. It's just the way it goes. Those things, they have to reach a certain point, and then they produce those flowers and fruit. And if you prune them back, then they don't get that.
What I fed it with was a water-soluble plant food 20-20-20. Is that okay, or should I feed it with something else?
That's fine, but I like to use something that's a little bit more slow acting in the ground. I typically, for my vegetables and fruits and things, like to go with an organic. Espoma makes a really good organic a garden tone fertilizer that would work perfectly for that.
And what's the name of that?
It's called Garden Tone.
Garden Tone fertilizer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Alrighty. All right. Well, thank you so much. I'll just tie it up and kind of feed it and wait and see what happens, and I won't cut it anymore.
Okay.
All righty.
All right, thanks, Janet. All right, the phone number again is 776-5770 if you have a question for Tim. Thanks, Dan Mann, for your patience. What's going on with your apricots?
Well, that's the first year I've had them produced. They got the tree a couple of years ago from Tim, and they're starting to get ripe, but when you open it up, it's kind of brown and soft around the pit, the flesh is, and it tastes okay, but it looks almost kind of like it's rotting or something. There's too much water or something, or?
Well, there is a pit rot that can happen with those, and I'm not sure what. I'd have to research that a little bit more. I haven't seen that in quite a while. So, yeah, I mean, as long as they're still, fairly flavorful and good, they should be fine to eat. But you'll want to get them harvested before it gets too late. But that could be, again, another environmental kind of issue from a hot, dry spring, being more making it more susceptible to that kind of a problem. I don't know without actually researching that again.
Okay.
Well, thanks.
All righty.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Okay. Let's see here. Rick, midday watering, is that what you want to know?
Yeah, I had a comment, and then I'll listen to you on the radio after I say what I was thinking. But you guys were talking about it's okay to water during the midday when it's really hot. It doesn't affect anything. And I was wondering about people that live in the city. There's chlorine in the water, and it might leave a residue on the vegetation, and it might burn it. And then also, doesn't the water evaporate faster in the midday versus early in the morning or later in the evening?
Yes, absolutely. Well, first of all, the chlorine, there's not enough chlorine in that to cause any problems or to really cause a residue. It's mostly other things that will cause residues like calcium deposits or silica deposits, things like that. But as far as watering in the middle of the day, no, definitely not, because you're right, you're going to be wasting a lot of water. But a light, to spray up in the air, to coat the leaves during the middle of the day, to cool things off temporarily, not a bad thing to do. So you're not going to water your plants, you're basically just going to hose them down. And it's that evaporation that'll cool things down. Now, I don't suggest doing that all the time, and I don't suggest doing that as a way to keep your plants cool. But if you have a plant or something that is a little bit heat stressed, you could, in the hot days, you could do that with that for a few days and see if it doesn't help with the heat stress on that specific plant or that specific area of your yard. Basically, what I was trying to say is that it's not going to damage your plants. A light watering that dries during the day shouldn't do any damage to your plants whatsoever.
Okay. Oh, I think we lost him. Okay. Let's see here if I get all the right numbers straightened out here. Let's go down to Linda. Thank you, Linda. Let's see if I can get you on the line. There you go. Hi, Linda. What's going on with your plants?
Well, I just had a question about my gladiolas. Is it because of the amount of sunshine and heat that we've had that they're all kind of burning up?
What kind of plant? I missed that.
Gladiolus.
Gladiolus. It could be, but more likely you've got a thrip issue. They're a real big pest with those.
So I have to spray with spinosad or something?
Yeah, you can use the spinosad for that. The thrips are a very, very small little insect that get into the flowers in their very fine bud stage, very small bud stage, and they feed on that real tender growth inside. So when they open up there, they don't look good. They brown very quickly. They never fully develop. And that's usually a sign that you have thrips.
Okay, because most of my flowers are blooming fine. It's just that around the edges are just like they're burnt.
Okay, yeah. So if they're coming on and looking good and then burning, it's probably mostly just heat related.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
And then my other question was for my hanging plants. I have just like a dissolvable fertilizer that I bought at a store several years ago. Can I just use that? It's like a 10-34-10 or something like that.
Sure. Yeah.
That works okay?
Yeah. That'll be fine till you run out. Then you've got to come get the good stuff.
And then what kind should I get?
The geranium hanging basket and pansy fertilizer by Fertilome. That's the one that we use exclusively now. Okay. It's a 20-20-20. So it's balanced. And it works very good.
Okay. And do you have a recommendation for like a feed and
weed and feed?
A weed and feed that you put on your lawn?
Yes, we do carry one. It's called Weed Out Plus Lawn Food. Weed and feeds are a little different, and so you want to be sure that you have the right conditions to use a weed and feed before you use it. And so if you're considering a weed and feed, check with us and let us discuss your situation before you use it. Otherwise, you may not have good control of the weeds. So that's really important. The types of weeds that you might have the timing, how it goes down. Those are all really, really important things, and we'll give you that information and make sure that it's going to work for you, and that maybe something else might be better, and we would be able to tell you that. So
okay.
Great.
Thank you. All right, let's go. Oh, I made a mistake. Linda, who was going to ask the question about long stem roses, please call back. I pushed the wrong button. That's the first mistake I've ever made.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. We're going to take a picture of this moment.
Yeah. I apologize. I really do. Sorry about that. All right, let's go to Blake. He's got some poison oak problems. Hi, Blake.
Phone Perry.
Hey, man.
Hey, so yeah, we do have poison oak problems. We, my wife and I bought 10 acres outside Eagle Point, and we have lots of poison oak. So curious on what time of the year and what the best way is to try to get rid of that.
Okay. The best time of year for controlling poison oak is just before it starts to go dormant, so late in the summer. And you can use a combination of glyphosate, which is more commonly known as Roundup, and another product that a lot of people call it Crossbow. We have it called Brush and Stump Killer. You can do a mixture of those two things, add a little spreader sticker to the spray, and you will kill anything. Of course, be very careful with it, because that's a pretty strong combination. But you can go through and spray all your poison oak with that at that time of year. And what's happening at that time, the reason why that time is so good, is that the plant is beginning to go dormant, so it is pulling in nutrients out of the leaves and storing it up inside. And so when you put the spray on the foliage, it's more likely to go through and travel through the entire plant and kill the entire plant than, say, spring, when all the direction is going the other way, where the growth is coming out of the plant and the plants are producing more growth. So now you can use the spray any time of year with success, but the best time would be that late summer, early fall, before they just as they start to turn a little bit of color.
Okay,
man.
And then there's a bunch of it that's like right next to a bunch of scrub oak and stuff. If I get a little bit of that stuff on the bark, is that going to hurt that tree?
Probably not. The bark is not, the exterior part of the bark is not alive, so chances of it actually damaging the tree are pretty slim. So just want to keep it off the bark as much as you can. So.
Okay, great.
All right. Thanks, Blake. All right, let's take a quick break. And again, Linda, the one that was going to ask the question about the long stem roses, I accidentally pushed the wrong button. I apologize. So if you can call back, we'll get your question in. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back and we'll have our last segment with Tim Elbert from Four Seasons Nursery. Give us a call, 776-5770.
Hi, I'm Daniel and I work at theDove TV. You know, compared to Portland, Seattle, and LA, Medford might be considered a small market, but at theDove, we're excited about the opportunity to make a big impact right here in our community. And you help make that happen. Did you know that more than 90% of our income comes from people like you? You can help us now by making a secure online donation at our website, thedove.us, or by phoning 541-776-5368.
With Tim Elbert, Four Seasons Nursery, and if you have any questions, the number is 776-5770, of course, area code 541, and the beautiful nursery out there on Crater Lake Highway, open from 9 to 5 every day, and he's here to take your questions. Somebody's going to win this beautiful coneflower. All right, Linda is back, so I'm going to put her first because I accidentally hung up on her. So, Linda, I apologize. What's your question?
Yes, I wanted to know how you get long stem roses.
You go to the florist shop. Okay, all right. So with your roses, the best ones to make long stem roses are your hybrid teas. So you would choose a hybrid tea rose. And then the first couple of years, you're going to have a little bit more of a difficult time because it's got to put some growth on first. But once you've been pruning it correctly in the fall and stuff, the first roses that come up, should be pretty nice. You get some nice roses off of them.
Okay.
And then when you're pruning off the spent roses, you want to look at the stem. You can start from the top of the rose and look down the stem. And each one of those leaves will be made up of several leaflets. They're compound leaf. So you might look at the first one and there'll be maybe 3 leaflets. And you go down to the next one, there might still be 3 leaflets. What you want to do is go down and find the second set of 5 leaflets.
Okay, the second set.
Yes, and prune right above that.
Above the second set?
Yes, just above the second set of 5 leaflets.
Okay.
And that's your strongest bud. And that bud will produce the most growth and give your plant the best chance of having long stem roses.
Okay.
So that, along with proper watering and feeding, and you will have fantastic roses.
Yeah, I trim them every year.
Oh, good.
And then all of a sudden I didn't have any long ones. I was wondering what I did.
Well, yeah, you know, in the fall, and then again in the winter, I guess February, when you do your pruning, be sure that you're leaving that open enough. Okay?
Okay.
Nice, good open structure will produce much better growth. So.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
I'm
Linda.
glad you wanted to talk to me.
I tried,
Thank you
but
so
carrying
much.
up on you.
I was beginning to wonder.
I apologize. That was my fault. I apologize. Thank you,
Thank
Linda.
you.
Okay. All right, Gail, you've been very patient. What's going on with your Bermuda grass?
Well, it's horrible. It's overtaking my whole front yard, and it just started out as a little teeny area, and it seemed like the more I'd pull it out, the worse it got, and now it's completely, it's probably about half of my front yard now, and I wondered how to get rid of it.
Yeah, you know, we're going to nickname it Sin. Because, you know, it gets started and next thing you know, it just takes over.
It's horrible.
So, yeah, in order to get rid of it, we use a product called Turflawn Ester. And it's a very, very concentrated spray. Use a spreader sticker with it. It's very important that you do that. And spray that stuff, and it will selectively kill it in your lawn. And it works fantastic. I've done it, and it's done a great job for me.
Is it okay to do it during any time of the year? Can I do it now?
Yeah. Any time that it's actively growing. So, yes, absolutely, you can do it now.
Will it affect the other grass at all?
No.
Oh, okay. No. Good.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you so
All
much.
right.
Have a good day.
Okay,
All right,
you too, Gail. All right, let's go to Ron. Hi, Ron. What's going on with your onions?
Well, I bought some onions from you, Tim, and I don't know when to pick them.
When they're big enough. So
they're big enough.
Then go for it. You can start harvesting anytime.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the smaller ones I can leave and they'll get bigger?
Yes. Yep. So just leave them on. Only harvest what you need as you need it. And
okay.
And then if they start to go to seed, then just break the tops off. Just bend them over.
Okay.
And then you can kind of just stop watering in that area, you know, or, you know, little light waterings occasionally, but you really kind of want them to dry out.
Yeah.
And then those bulbs will stay in there. I've actually left onions in my garden clear through winter and just harvested as needed, and they did fine.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. And my potatoes are looking kind of puny. I don't know if it's time to harvest them or what.
Have the plants begun to flower yet?
Oh, yeah, they flowered quite some time ago.
Okay, so then yes, then you can begin to harvest those. And again, once they start to flower, I recommend that you just kind of fold them over, break them down, the tops down, and then it'll start to bring all of that. You don't want to cut them off. But you want to kind of break them down because they will start to pull all that energy out of the plant and down, stored up inside those tubers, and you'll end up with some nice big potatoes that way.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Hi, Melissa. What's going on with your lemon tree?
I have 2 Meyer lemon trees in containers.
Mm-hmm.
And they seem like they're getting attacked by what look like aphids on steroids. They're huge and they're harder than a regular aphid, but they're just kind of all over the plants, and the leaves are, there seem to be some maybe on the leaves also that are like a light tan color, but some of them look more white.
Yeah. You've got biker aphids. Yeah, if you take one and you put it under a magnifying glass, you'll see the Harley Davidson sign on their wings. So yeah, you've got some hard biker aphids on there. There's let's see, what do I use for citrus? I don't like to use oils on citrus because it tends to cause the leaves to drop, and so use like a permethrin or a pyrethrin on there, and that will take care of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would it be good for me to take it outside and just wash them all off first and then spray something on it?
Yeah, if you can, wash them off as best you can first, then allow the plant to dry and then spray them, and then watch and see how that goes. You should be in pretty good shape.
Okay, and is there a brand or anything that spray?
Well, let's see. Natural Guard makes a pyrethrin that we carry, and then also High Yield, I'm sorry, does a permethrin that's a very super concentrate, and so a little bit goes a long ways, and that's a very economical way to go.
And you're saying permethrin?
Permethrin, yeah, permethrin is a synthetically formed version of pyrethrin. Pyrethrin is derived from painted daisies, so it's an extract. But the permethrin, same chemical, just derived in a lab as opposed to extracted from a plant.
Okay, so either pyrethrin or permethrin will work.
Permethrin, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
God bless you guys.
Thank you. You too. All right, let's go to Donna. What's going on with your tomatoes?
Oh, hi. I have a question about an early girl, a tomato that I planted in a pot.
All right.
And I planted it in Miracle Grow, which my understanding you're not supposed to fertilize it for 3 months. Is that correct, or is it different in a pot?
I don't know with the Miracle Grow soils. I don't carry them, so I don't know on that one. So I'm not real fond of that brand of soil.
So, really?
Yeah. Of course, my potting soil is the best.
It's been about 2.5 months, so do you think I should go ahead and fertilize it?
Does the plant look like it needs fed?
Well, it's not really doing too well. It's not getting enough sun.
Okay.
And it's just tall and kind of spindly, so the leaves are green.
Mm-hmm. I would suggest that if you're going to feed it, use an organic that's going to be a little slower acting and non-burning, just in case. Now, Espoma makes a great one called Tomato Tone, and it's perfect for tomatoes. You can hit it up with that, but if the problem is that it's not getting enough sun, just feeding it's not going to change anything. You need to get it out where it's going to get more sun. Now, you need to be careful with that. If you move it out into the sun too quickly, then it's not going to be used to that and it's going to burn. So move it slowly out into the sun. And this would probably be a good week to do that as we cool down this week. It'll be a great time to get that moved where it's going to get some more sunlight.
Got to go, Donna.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
All righty.
Dana, 10 seconds. What's your question about tomato worms?
Tomato hornworms, 2 inches long. What do I do with them besides feed them to my chickens?
Spinosad takes care of that. The same thing we do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right, let me see if I can get Don. And Don, what's going on with grass in your potted plants? Quickly.
I have grasshoppers. I have there's a grass growing out the top,
Okay.
and the grasshoppers are eating it terribly.
Okay, so a good shot of malathion take care of those.
Got to go. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Let's see who the winner is today. Is going to run this beautiful cone flower, and the winner is
Donna.
Donna.
Dio. Or is that Nona?
Oh, that's Dona. All right, that was a call before last. Okay, good.
Oh,
congratulations.
there we go.
All right, Four Seasons Nursery, 9 to 5 every day out there on Highway 62. Get off on Violence Road. You can't miss it. And Tim is the one in the blue shirt. We'll see you next time in Focus Today.
Hi, I'm Jim, and I work at theDove TV. Every weekday between 6 and 8 a.m., our award-winning news and sports team bring you the best morning show around. It's live, it's honest, and it's a whole lot of fun. And you help make it happen. Did you know that more than 90% of our income comes from people like you? You can help us continue to air local programs that share your voice by making a secure online donation at our website, thedove.us.